The recording is started. Kelly, turning it over to you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar today. I'm very excited about it because I love the people who are presenting. They're here to help just like we are. You know, more of us work together, the greater the chance we'll get through this crisis in one whole piece. So I'm really excited about what they have to hear today. I'm going to let Kim and Asna introduce themselves because they know themselves better than anybody else. So they'll tell us what they want us to know, and then we will find out what they have to tell us, the little tips and tricks to help pet owners get what they need through this time. So do you two want to take it away? I don't know which one of you want to speak first, but the floor is yours.
Sure, I'll go first. Hi, everyone. My name is Asa Pogrelis. I'm the Vice President of Marketing here at VetSource. Thank you, Kelly and Will, for creating this opportunity so we can hopefully help those in the audience with some of the challenges that they're dealing with in what's a pretty crazy environment right now. So I won't jump into all the things we're going to talk about yet. Maybe just real quick background on me. I've been with VetSource for almost 10 years now, various sales and marketing roles, worked for Hill's Pet Nutrition before. But I would say the most important thing was I was a vet tech for 8 years. So that's really influenced what my influence is and how I think about things. Kim, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, my name is Kim London and I'm a National Account Manager here at VetSource. And just to echo the sentiments of Kelly and Asa and Will, thank you so much for taking time out of your crazy busy day to join us. I hope it's going to be valuable for you, and I'm really just pleased to be here. I have been with VetSource for about 12 years now, and similar to Asa, prior to that, my background is in animal health and welfare as well. Spent time in companion animal practice, shelters, and even daycare boarding and grooming a long time ago. So again, really happy to be here. Hopefully we can leave you with just some tidbits of actionable items that'll be helpful as we all look to just, you know, be flexible, right? I mean, day by day as we band together and lean on each other to put this hopefully behind us in the near future, we shall see.
Great, thanks, Kim. So let me go ahead and share the deck we're going to use for the presentation. I will say while we have slides and I call it a presentation, you know, our hope is this is a little more conversational, if you will, even though we are going to try to hold questions till the end just to make sure we get through everything. And so really our hope of the next 30 to 45 minutes is to share with you many of the things that we've seen becoming more and more helpful for our customers as they've reached out with the challenges that they're facing. We've started to just create things, create support materials, etc., just as we hear more and more things. And so that's really the hope, is to share those things with you to help your practice really make sure your clients are able to get the meds and the food that they need for their pet owners during this time. Real quick agenda. I'll cover first just how you might think about creating awareness with your pet owners. Many of them probably, if you already have a home delivery service, many probably already know, but there's likely a large portion that might not be aware. And certainly there's fear and uncertainty right now. And so, making sure that they know you have a service option that allows them to get their pet's food and medication delivered to home without having to physically visit the clinic will be important. I'll then hand it over to Kim, and she'll talk about some proactive ways you might think about using your platform. I should say, while both Kim and I work for VetSource, this really isn't about VetSource. We're certainly going to talk about tools that are included in our platform. We might even use the specific names that we use just because we're so used to using those names. But our goal is really to talk about those tools that are fairly common regardless of which home delivery provider you use, so that even if you're not one of our customers, you can take away kind of best practices or tidbits or things that might be able to help you address some of the concerns of your clients. Even if it's a different platform, you should still be able to use the content that we're talking about. And then Kim will also talk about just how to leverage the support that you have through your provider. And then I'll come back on and just talk a little bit more specific to VetSource, only because it's harder to know exactly what everyone else is doing, but I'm highly confident that the steps that we've taken to ensure the safety of our employees, our customers, and our clients. And the plans we put in place are probably similar to those of your provider. And so we'll share some of those just to give you greater confidence on continuing to lean on your provider to get medications and food delivered to home. And then we'll certainly leave it for Q&A at the end to answer anything or go deeper on anything that we didn't cover. So with that being said, let's just jump into creating awareness. You know, there was some recent research done totally unrelated to the current environment where they asked pet owners, if you knew your veterinarian offered an online pharmacy and home delivery, would you use it? Not surprising, significant amount, I think it was north of 90% of pet owners said yes. But the problem is when you asked who was aware, it was a much lower number. And so one of the things we want to talk about is tools that you have available to you to help you create greater awareness. And so we'll start out by just talking about making it easy for your clients to find your online store. You know, when they're coming to your website, so your practice website, not necessarily your online pharmacy, there's a lot of things, a lot of valuable information that they're presented with, because you're not just a direct-to-consumer pharmacy, of course, you're their care provider. And so you're talking about services, appointment booking, stuff about your staff and doctors, et cetera. And so it's really important to try to make it easy for your clients to find your online store. And really the best practice is to make sure it's in that primary navigation at the top. And so this is just an example of a practice where you can see they've got their Our Practice, location, services, contact us, make payment, but then they have shop very clear. Now, whether you use shop or online pharmacy or home delivery, that's certainly up to you, but it's important that they can see it in this primary navigation and they don't have to go hunt for it. Really, anytime someone's having to hunt for something on a website, you have a high likelihood of losing them. And so we have customers that, you know, historically didn't even have shop right here. They might have had services, and then as a sub menu item, they had shop, which is still pretty hard to find. Maybe in the normal environment, that's okay. You know, our recommendation for those of you that are using a home delivery service is even make a temporary change. And certainly you know, if you're a Beyond Indigo customer, I'm certain they would help you with this to really pull shop or online pharmacy to your primary navigation. The next recommendation we'd have, and this actually is a Beyond Indigo site, almost all websites now have this area at the top, which is often called a hero image or leaderboard that you might be familiar with. And so this is just an example of more typical what you'd see. This is the most valuable real estate, arguably, you have on your practice website. And so we would encourage you to work with your website provider to update these hero images, not just for home delivery, but we know many of you are providing updates to you know, hours of operations, what you're doing to react to the current environment to make sure your clients and pets still have care. And this is a great opportunity to use this hero space for that information as well. You're not going to put all the information here, but draw attention to it and then link to a page within your website is a great best practice. And then certainly if you have a rotating hero image, so you have multiple options for what you communicate, we'd suggest this is a great opportunity to really create and promote awareness around your home delivery service. Next thing, obviously, you know, many people are sitting at home. And while we'd like to think that many people are sitting at home reading a book, unfortunately, that's usually not the case these days. And so they're, you know, on a website, they might be shopping for things for themselves, and they might be checking out your Facebook page. It's really easy to create a Shop Now button on your website, on your Facebook page for your practice. We can certainly send instructions for you if needed. If anybody needs those instructions, probably just drop them into the Q&A and with some contact information. We'd be happy to send you those. But of course, it's also available through Facebook. And so when you think about kind of your first 3 steps, if you will, when you're trying to make sure your pet owners, your clients, know that you offer this service, make sure it's easy to find on your website. And so that's primary navigation, leverage that hero banner space if you have it. Next would be to make sure it's available through your social media channels. And so here's a good example of Facebook. But also beyond that, really just leveraging kind of your current client communication capabilities. So every practice is different, we recognize that. But many practices are communicating, whether through their own email marketing, through reminders, through a monthly or weekly newsletter, any of those touch points that you have, just think about ways you might be able to leverage that touch point to include information around your home delivery service. And then also, talk to your home delivery provider. I'm not going to say all of them, but I think the majority of those companies that offer home delivery for veterinarians also offer email marketing to help you create awareness among your client base. We offer that as well. It's called pet mail if you hear us use that word throughout the presentation. But if you're not already engaged in that type of additional service through your provider, do reach out to them because they can help you in a very easy way. It's not a whole lot of work for you. You still have control. It is still your client and your relationship. And so those emails are really sent on your behalf under your control. So if you're not doing those things yet, we probably suggest you at least explore them and evaluate them. Ultimately, it's going to be up to your practice whether or not it's the right thing. Lastly, just around communicating with your clients, and this was actually something, so we have what we call a lab committee. So it's an acronym for Leadership Advisory Board. And so when this all kind of blew up, if you will, in the past few weeks, we invited those members to join us on a call just so we could understand, how they were being impacted, get feedback on how we could help in any way outside of home delivery. And one of them made an interesting comment, and that was around, the realities of what might happen if they're not physically at the practice. And so one of the things they mentioned is they're currently communicating to their clients, look, if you want to go, and again, how you talk about this with your clients is completely unique to you. And so I'm just going to give you an example. But they might say to a client prior to all this going on, if you want to shop from ABC company or XYZ company, that's fine. Those are ones that are getting product directly, or you might just encourage them not to do that, regardless of what your previous recommendation was. For these lab members, what they communicated is they're concerned that if their clients are ordering from, we'll just call them direct-to-consumer pharmacies, the only way that they practice is able to approve that prescription request, we all know, is typically via fax. And if you're not physically at your practice, those faxes are going to come in. You're not going to be readily able to approve or deny them if it's not medically appropriate. And unfortunately, that means your clients are just going to be waiting for either their prescription diets or their prescription medications, and they're not going to get them in time. And so for them, that's even more of a reason to make sure you're communicating that dynamic that, we're not saying you can't order from those places, just know there's only one way we can improve those orders. And if we're not physically here, it means your orders are probably going to get delayed. And instead, we offer a home delivery service. We can approve those electronically regardless of where we're at, via phone, via computer at home, etc. And that would be the best way to get medications and prescription diets to their pets the fastest. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, we'll have some time at the end. Happy to answer any questions around marketing and creating awareness, anything that we didn't cover if you want to go deeper. But for now, I am going to hand it over to Kim to talk about being a little more proactive in the opportunities you have.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Absolutely. And I think Asa brought up a really great point there at the end, right? Talking about responding to pet parents as requests are coming in from other pharmacies or just even in hospital refilling and all of that that's going on today. There's also a great opportunity to be even more proactive, if you will, with your home delivery. So kind of taking it that next step farther, there's some fantastic tools out there to be able to e-prescribe. And we really want to encourage you, if you never have before, to be familiarizing yourself with those tools so that you can easily, start a pet parent on home delivery before they're already calling into you is kind of the game plan. So a few of the tools to consider leveraging even more today, if you haven't already, is definitely being able to use, again, e-prescribing. So at VetSource, we have a tool we call ScriptWrite. Again, there's multiple ways that this is done from various providers. You'll want to connect with your provider to find out exactly what their capabilities are. But ideally, what that does is that gives you the power to be able to quickly place orders on the behalf of your pet parents. You know, from a pet parent perspective, it's fantastic customer service. And I think we're all looking for that, especially right now during COVID, as we think about all of the various things that we're trying to juggle, and just way less work for everybody. And so for pet parents that are phoning in for refills, you know, you can actually order the refill and have it sent directly to home for them. Of course, that does mean that they'll have to not be out. So fully recognizing that if they are out, you know, what we would recommend is dispense them, you know, a 2-week supply perhaps. You know, I know everybody's making concessions to be able to run things out to cars and stuff like that, doing drive-throughs. So encourage them to take advantage of that piece of your service if you're offering that. And then you can follow up and have the next refills sent to home. You just set it up in the web application or whatever the tool may look like specifically for you, and they're all set. They're getting a couple weeks to get them through, and then the rest is just going to come directly to home. Something else to be thinking about too, I know I just got a text from my girlfriend who had some, her hours cut back, and we've been staying, of course, in close touch, and she just let me know she's officially been laid off from her job. And I know that, you know, she's not alone, right? There's a lot of struggle going on right now. And so home delivery can help with that as well, whether it's timing of orders, since things don't bill until they ship, or just thinking about the quantity that you're having to purchase. You know, single doses of preventatives are definitely going to be less expensive than the full packs. So maybe just dispensing a dose to get somebody through and keeping tabs on them and helping them to be able to, again, connect with the product that their pets need so much, but have it be more flexible in these really ever-changing and trying times. If you wanted to be even more proactive, so definitely have been in touch with some practices that are really trying to get ahead of the refills, if you will, and they are going through looking at records, identifying pet parents that are on, I guess it's actually the pet parents with pets on chronic medications or diets as well, and reaching out to them to just check in, see how their supply is, and again, place those orders for the next refills for them before they even run out, or even taking it a step further, helping them to create that on an auto ship, which is really helpful as well. Last but certainly not least, another tool to be thinking about trying to leverage during these times is email recommendations. So at VetSource, we call our tool Script Share. Everybody coins it a little bit different, but essentially what you're doing is you are creating an email for the pet parent. It's customized. It's exactly for what their pet is on. And then they're just click of a button, if you will, setting that up at home, but can really help to avoid mistakes of, you know, oh geez, I don't know, it's the yellow pill versus the purple pill, right? We've all been there and had those conversations. And so it can really streamline things and again, make it just really easy for your pet parents to connect with the products that they need as well. So think about that tool too. You know, we've covered a lot of ground today as we think about marketing best practices, the tools that are available, some tips from what we're hearing from our partner practices. But I think it really does come down to, in these, you know, truly trying times, we need to lean on each other. Kelly said it so well in the beginning as well. We're just here to help each other to be better, to support each other. And that's going to be definitely what gets us through. So please, I cannot implore you enough, connect with your pharmacy fulfillment partner. You know, we understand that right now there's a lot of practices like you've come proactively to garner information. So whether you're a practice yourself or you're someone who's helping practices, a lot of people are looking to begin utilizing a home delivery service or refresh on how to use their existing home delivery service under a lot of pressure. It can be a little bit chaotic, but your pharmacy fulfillment partner absolutely is here to help. whether it's training, whether it's resources. You know, here at VetSource, we do have a team of web-based trainers, so we can help with that. We also have a slew of resources. They're all available online. They're hyperlinked, and your representative can help walk you through all of those. So please don't feel like, oh, you know, I'm sure they're really busy, we'll just figure this out. Absolutely. I know I speak for every pharmacy fulfillment partner that's out there. Reach out, let us help you. That's what we're here for. And of course, then just making sure that you're utilizing all of the tools that are available. And don't forget, there's multiple ways to connect. So whether it's truly picking up the phone, but also email, utilizing chat support. Those support teams are available through all of these multiple avenues, have very long extended hours, and again, are just here to help. So please, even home delivery or not, again, we're interacting with thousands of practices across the United States as pharmacy fulfillment partners. And so we can share. People are being so wonderful about sharing their struggles as well as what's working for them. So again, let's all lean on each other and look forward to brighter non-COVID days.
Just kidding. I always do that. I was muted. All right, so I'm just going to take a few minutes to talk about really the steps that we've, as an organization, taken. You know, as I said, as we got started, I can't promise you these are exact steps that everybody else has taken, but I would have to imagine everyone is generally trying to obviously deal with the same challenges and are largely doing the same things that we're doing. You know, when it comes to safety and preparedness, frankly, for us, the first thing and the most important thing is the safety of our employees. And so that was really the early changes that happened, implementing social distancing early, and then really very early, we started encouraging any employee that could to work from home. We are considered an essential business, and so the reason why we're essential is because we're able to ship medications and prescription diets and other things to home for pet owners. And so unfortunately, that can't happen at home. So we do have you know, a decent portion of our staff here in one of our facilities, just trying to get the orders out the door. So after checking the box, if you will, which is the box is really never checked. We're continuing to update things daily, but checking the box on making sure our employees are safe. The next most important thing is to make sure we can get the orders out the door for your clients to make sure they have their pets' medications and food throughout this time. So let me talk about just a few things that we've done. One, you know, this is probably the early question that we got from our customers is, are you guys going to run out of product because of the demand increasing? That really hasn't been a problem. You know, any normal business day, there's always one or two items that might run low, but other than just what we would call normal business challenges, we really haven't had any supply issues, and we've been working very closely with our suppliers, directly with manufacturers to ensure supply and actually even buy ahead. We've, I won't go into all the details, but I almost wish I could video and show you all this stuff. Like, we've literally moved our physical call center out of its space to a different location so that we could repurpose that space to build up inventory to make sure we're not running out or delaying orders because you know, medications from suppliers are delayed. So that's underway. So as I mentioned, we've increased inventory, just anticipating that the demand's going to continue and until things start to hopefully alleviate and resolve. We've also, you know, coordinated with partners within the industry to really develop operational redundancies. Really what that means is, so I mentioned before, we're an essential business, which means, you know, withstanding some major change where the government says, you know, you're not essential anymore, the reality is they're going to let us continue to provide services to our veterinary customers to get medications and food delivered at home. But something could happen, whether that be, I almost don't want to say it because I just don't like the sound of it, but I will. So let's just say there's a scenario where we had an outbreak of coronavirus within our pharmacy. When you come back to what I said was the most important thing, which is the safety of our employees, putting that first, you know, that might be a situation where we literally have to stop shipping out of that pharmacy. And so what we're doing is making sure if that ever did happen, we are in a position that we can actually take those orders, basically send them to a partner, again, within the industry. So, you know, I won't name specific names, but think about other companies that do things like we do for veterinarians, other companies that ship into a practice. All those are potentially options. And so while we hope it never comes to that, we want to be ready if it does to make sure clients and pets get their orders. We're continuing to do frequent deep cleanings and daily sanitation. And even, I'll give you another example. So typically our pharmacy is open 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We've expanded those hours to make sure we're able to get everything out the door quickly from now 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 days a week. We used to be shut down the pharmacy on Sundays. We really aren't able to do that right now, other than this Sunday, we will be shutting down again so that we have the ability to do a thorough deep cleaning across the board. Again, because the last thing we want to do is put our employees at risk. I mentioned before, but we've encouraged every employee that can to work from home. And so kudos to our development and IT team, who's been able to work quickly to set up many of our call center employees remotely, so they can continue to take phone calls from both you as a practice and your staff, but also your pet owners. And then lastly, you know, it's kind of in that contingency plan scenario or bucket. We've also worked to identify outside resources to help expand capacity if needed. And so that's contract pharmacists that can come in potentially, pharmacy technicians, et cetera. We don't really want to go that route just because we have a very specific curriculum that our pharmacy team goes through to make sure they're very well educated and providing a safety net for our veterinary practices. And it's hard to bring people in with the same level of competency around veterinary pharmacy versus human pharmacy. But again, most important thing is get the orders out the door. And so if we need to, we do have some outside resources to expand capacity. The last thing I will say, only because it's well, it's not on this slide, but it's a common question that we're getting these days is, you know, how long are our orders delayed and how long are they delayed? And what are you going to do if you run out of supply? So the latter, what are we going to do if we run out of supply? That one, honestly, it's not going to be run out of everything at once. It's going to be specific SKUs or products or brands, et cetera. We don't actually expect that to happen based off the work that we've done and the communication that we've had with manufacturers. But if it did, it's going to be handled case by case based off the product. And obviously our intent is to continue to provide services to our customers and ultimately make sure pet owners get the medications they need for their pets. And so what we do when that happens will ultimately be guided by those two guiding principles. From a shipment time standpoint, you know, even as I've talked with our sales team, because their customers are asking, you know, I want to know how many days delayed potentially are orders so I can, and really to inform their clients so their clients can order ahead. The hard thing is that's not an easy thing to answer because there's so many different variables. So for example, if it's a brand new pet owner ordering through your home delivery service and it's a brand new prescription, that goes through a more extensive process within our pharmacy so that we ensure that the prescription is correct, which is a little longer processing time, but not typically longer than, you know, 8 to 12 hours, if you will. Usually those go out the same day. And then you have others that are prescription orders that are using refills that have previously already been approved, and those go a little bit faster. And so just that alone is a difference in timing. Then you introduce food. Food's a whole different ballgame. And so the challenges with food and getting those out vary by partner. I can tell you I ordered my dog's therapeutic diet on, what's today? Thursday. So I ordered it on Tuesday and it shipped yesterday, if that gives you some perspective. Honestly, the largest variable and why it's hard to communicate delivery timelines is really the fulfillment arm or the logistics arm. And so that's the UPSs, the FedExes, and the USPSs. And that's not anything negative about those organizations. It's just they are dealing with massive influx in demand on getting things delivered to home. And so it changes daily on their service levels and how quickly they're able to deliver things to home. Give you a personal example again. I ordered something from Amazon. They said when I ordered it was going to be delivered on Monday. I just got it yesterday, which is fine, right? I mean, I think we all understand what's going on. And so there's no doubt there's increased pressure on all organizations that are trying to ship to home. Largely for us, things are getting out generally in the same amount of time that they usually do. Really, the big variable is even when it leaves our door, we can't tell you, unfortunately, what the challenges are on that given day for a fulfillment provider and how long it's going to take versus the standard amount of time. So with that, I'm going to stop talking and open it up for questions. And maybe before I do that, Kim, anything you want to add on even just what we just talked about or something that you thought about as we were going through it?
No, I think that was great. Nothing else to add, and I appreciate all of the insight.
Okay. So Will, I don't know if there's any questions that have come through that we can help answer.
Absolutely. So first of all, if you have any questions, please type them into the Q&A section now. As those questions come in, we'll make sure to get those answered. I do have our first question, which has come in, which is, how quickly could my practice get home delivery up and running?
Yeah, that's a great question. We've had that one come up a few times over the past couple of weeks. So, to kind of ground us in what typically happens, at least this is unique for us, I would say. Typically when we launch a customer, we ask them to go through one live training, which is an hour, and so that has to be scheduled. We do usually software integration so that they don't have to retype their clients and pets. There's some process to that, et cetera. There's some other things as well, which I won't go into. In reality, for these practices that don't currently have home delivery, and they just want to get set up quickly, honestly, the most important thing is to get them a shopping site so they can make it available to their clients so their clients can place orders. And so we've made some changes, and I would imagine other providers are doing this as well, where for us, we can get a practice pretty much launched within up to about 48 hours. And so essentially, it does require, we still need to do licensing verification, get tax forms, et cetera, because it's just required to do the business that we do. So as long as we can get those things quickly, pharmacy approval takes about 24 hours right now, and we can build you a shopping site with a full catalog within another 24 hours. So I'd say 48 to 72 hours is about how long it would take.
Our next question comes in and it asks, is there any way that a client can take advantage of rebates for preventatives if purchased via VetSource?
Yeah, great question. So the short answer is yes, but I'll give you a little more context around that. So there's really two ways a pet owner can take advantage of rebates. One, if it's truly like a mail-in rebate, the one thing to remember about our business model, and again, same for others that provide our type of service, is we're not selling to your pet owners. We don't sell to pet owners. What we're doing is giving you a service so you can continue to sell to your pet owners. And so one of the requirements typically with those rebates being able to be redeemed is the pet owner is bought from their veterinarian. And so because through our service, your pet owners, your clients are still buying from you. We're just facilitating the transaction, helping to collect the money, shipping it on your behalf, et cetera. And so mail-in rebates, if you've ordered through if your clients order through your home delivery service, those count. And so they'll get the checks or credits or whatever they're getting. Probably even better than that, and more importantly, what we've been able to do, and again, I say we, and I really speak about all the other companies like us, have been able to work with manufacturers. So because clients are ordering online, and so to process a rebate when it's an online transaction is much easier often than going into the practice, because the practice doesn't have to deal with all the reimbursement if they give the discount right away. In contrast, we've set up a relationship with manufacturers where many of those rebates are instantly applied. And so if you're a VetSource customer, what's the easiest way to show you? You can go just look at your shopping site or through your services home in that help menu in the bottom right corner. Hopefully you've been there before. There's a link to what we call monthly manufacturer promos, I think is what it's called. They'll tell you all the active promotions that are available to your clients instantly. So when they check out, they get the discount. They're not having to go chase down rebates, submit forms, et cetera. That doesn't impact your margin or your revenue. We handle the back end processing and you get reimbursement. Good question.
All right, and those are the only questions that I'm seeing so far, although I'd encourage if anyone has any other question, now's the good time to get them in.
Don't be scared. We can't see who you are anyway, so you can ask whatever you want.
I have a question while we're waiting. Is this for the United States only, or what are you guys seeing in Canada too?
Oh, great question. So we only ship in the United States, so 50 states. We don't ship into Canada. It's mostly pharmacy regulation reasons. We haven't gone that far. So for us, and I think that's the case for the other providers within the U.S. I don't believe any of them are shipping in Canada yet either. Could be wrong though. So for us, we're just U.S. based.
But somebody is doing this in Canada, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's true. It's a different model in Canada, and I'm gonna say some things that I'm not 100% certain on. In Canada, it's a very the model is more around, it's almost like GPO approach, if you will, but like a shared ownership for the distributors. The distributors really do a lot in that market, and to my understanding, some of those are offering this type of service to their practices that are also buying wholesale.
Sounds good. Just because, I'm so close to the border, I'm 6 hours south. So
Yeah.
Canadians are next door neighbor.
Absolutely.
I think that's it for questions. Do you guys have any last statements or anything you want to add?
Just lastly, and Kim said it, reach out for support. Truly, we're here to help. Customer feedback is how we figure out what's the most important thing that we can be doing for whether it's our customers or just the profession in general. So whether you're a current customer, whether you're not a customer and you just have questions, want to ask, advice, need support, we're here to help. And so these are challenging times, and we really approach it as, we all need to kind of hold hands together and figure this out and get through it together, and then we'll be stronger at the other end.
Is there a specific contact us page during this time, or do they just go to the website to reach out?
Yeah, I think the website's probably the easiest. We do have a blog that we are updating regularly on our, so vetsource.com is our website. That's probably the easiest place. There's blog where we update information there, provides links to resources that we think might be helpful. And then you can also reach out to us there and submit a contact us form.
We do have one more question. What return policy on food, wrong items, shipping, that sort of thing?
Yeah, good question. So it kind of depends on the reason. So one, kind of a blanket statement, regardless of the product, if it's our fault, meaning whatever, we shipped it the wrong way, the product was damaged when it arrived, etc., we're always going to cover that return and do a reship for free. If it's a situation where the food was ordered and the client entered the wrong shipping address, or the practice set up the client for the wrong shipping, we handle that on a case-by-case basis. Certainly things that are covered in the manufacturer policy, like palatability, adverse reactions, those types of things, those are 100% guarantee included in shipping. But where it's something that's just completely out of our control, those are handled case by case. I couldn't tell by the question if you're also asking shipping rates. Food, for us, again, this might vary provider by provider, but shipping rates, all food ships for free. So it's just easier, and it's kind of what pet owners expect these days. So.
Amazon kind of really set the way for that with Amazon Prime, right? They kind of really changed our behavioral patterns on the shipping departments in that.
Yep, they absolutely did, and continue to do.
They will, and now they've got Prime Now and all sorts of things that are constantly pushing the limits. But it's great. Well, thank you so much for coming here and helping. We will have a recording of this website up on Beyond Indigo. We will send it around because I know a lot of people try to make a webinar and then all of a sudden, especially lately, life takes a right or a left turn out of the blue, so that you can listen to this later. Please share with your friends. This is not proprietary. This is just to help. So thank you for all coming today. and we really appreciate your attention. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Bye.